Jason, what do you think is the greatest innovation of all time?
You know what? I always love this part of the show because I always thought to myself, what would that innovation be? And I think
Uh-huh.
it goes back to what I alluded to actually in a previous question, 2 questions ago, is the cell phone. So
The cell
you
phone.
probably remember the clip. I forgot the gentleman's name, the CEO sitting in a little Dodge K car, right, for the first time ever with this big brick phone and a whole crowd around him. And years later, they actually used that same clip in a commercial talking about the innovation in the telecom community, the telecom industry. And to me, I think that's the biggest innovation, this idea, right, where we were all, again, I'm dating myself, unfortunately, but remembering the good old yellow or green phone that hung on your wall that you either press buttons. I don't even want to go there with the whole rotary. Half our audience won't even know what a rotary is, but the idea was you had to be home, right, to do a phone call. When you were a parent raising your kid and you allowed your son or daughter to go to the arcade or what have you, you had to trust that if I didn't hear from my son or daughter for an hour or two, that nothing bad happened, a kidnapping, what have you. Now we've got the conveniences of being able to, if I'm worried about him or her, I can give the kids a call and figure out where they are at, or I don't even have to give a call. I can look at that GPS tracker, the AirTag, then you put it into the backpack. So much of that technology has changed. But the reason I say that this is a profound innovation is not because it changed the way we live as a lifestyle, similar to the founding of electricity, Alexander Graham Bell with the founding of the phone itself, right? These things that kind of were lasting change, which is lasting forever, but it's all about telling us the lessons learned. So as good of an innovation as the cell phone was, remember that the companies that came out with those early cell phones were in a hurry. So again, they created this big brick that everyone had to carry around. It's inconvenient. People put up with it because it was new and at least they can talk on the road as opposed to their home. The other part of it too was the infrastructure. For those who were again around in that early mid 90s period, you remember that because everything in terms of the wires, the towers, those were all set up for the hard landline, right? Not for a digital environment. So those digital environments would actually have to coexist with the old-fashioned technology and in a technology where you had to worry about local phone calls versus long distance, right? There was charges for between the both. You didn't have a flat fee. So how would cell phones be able to differentiate that and at least in the early days copy the same kind of fee structure, right? So come innovation comes actually problems because the rest of the world hasn't caught up with you. So to me, that is, Susan, the biggest innovation that I always go back to as the one that I care about, both as lessons learned for what you should do, right? The great product that they've come up with,